What it do? 1 year ago, John and Umar were at my house in Union City, and we freestyled a song from Mylon. And a week later, we drove down to Bandon in Oregon to see him for his birthday. And it's crazy, a year later, 1 year grad school done, France, in Turin now. A lot has happened. Um, So I wanted to take this video this week, and it's not going to be about me. And I didn't know if I wanted to do this like a third person talking to Mylon in the third person, or be like you, because I'm going to send this to him. But I wanted to also put this part of my journal because I had a moment where a friend of mine asked me, like, we were catching up over for 6 years, and she was like, "What happened in your life?" And I was like, you know what? I can't really tell you events, but I can tell you people. And so I listed down names. I was like, Dan, and this is what he had, how he impacted my life. She who must not be named, from her, everything that I had learned. Ellis, Arden, so on and so forth, and Mylon. And I think they're people. The way I kind of visualize human beings are like these circles, and they bump into each other at random. More probability the closer that you are, the more connections, so on and so forth. But every time a bump like that happens, no matter how short, some consciousness, something is just transferred, right? Whether it's ideas, thoughts, habits, lifestyles, uh, your mood for the day, whatever it is. And sometimes those things can bump again and again and again and again, like a relationship or family, or in this case, a best friend. And so I would say, so I want to really take this video to appreciate to the most that I can this human being for all that they have done for me. And I think sometimes it's kind of hard to, well, we're going to die one day, there's going to be a day one day, unless we both happen to be in a car and get in an accident and die at the same time, where I'm going to either be alive when he's gone, or he's going to be alive when I'm gone. And it's kind of crazy to just like imagine a world where someone that meaningful or close to you can just be gone. And so when you do have that time together, I feel like it's really important to really appreciate each other. And so, Mylon is someone. Is it weird if I say Mylon is someone, or you? I don't know. If I say Mylon is someone, it's less intimate, and then maybe that's like something you'd want more. But if I say you, then it's like, what about future Mylon? Because like I'm talking to you, this is talking to the you of 7/20/2022. But if I say Mylon, it could be talking to any Mylon, even if you watch it a decade from now. But I want to say that for all of those ways those different people have impacted my life, I feel like the way Mylon has impacted my life, where do I start? How can I go? Would I have ever studied philosophy? No. Would I have ever had to have gone through my own intellectual ignorance of being like, I'm smart, and like basing my intelligence on such stupid things, like such minuscule things, without understanding how big the world is? So let me just talk about some experiences that I had with them that I feel like were extremely life changing for me. There was this one day, junior year, I like to partition this version of my life as medium toxicity. There was a high level toxicity. This is a medium level toxicity. But at that point in my life, I may not have, I really needed to prove to myself, hey, you are an intelligent person. And so we were having this conversation about philosophy and math, and I was like, oh, well, you know how I know philosophy is easier? It's because I said, this is such a stupid argument. I cannot believe these words even escaped my mouth, but they did. It was something along the lines of, if I were to give you, oh my, I don't even want to say it out loud again. I was like, if I were to give you one of my math books again, I don't think you'd be able to do any of it. But if you give me a philosophy book, I'm pretty sure I'd understand it. One, that's a indictment, first of all, on the individual, not the subject, which is just makes no sense. Okay, that's a stupid argument. But that was something that always sticks in my head because I'm like, we've had conversations after that day where we are just talking about what that actually means. And there was another time where Mylon, back then I think he kind of also had that I need to prove I'm smart, and would at times where he'd disagree on something, he'd be like, "Well, you made an ad hominem blah 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 fallacy," and I'm just like, "What are you talking about? What the fuck is that? What are you talking about?" And then like I remember I was just like, I can't allow this to happen. I went to a library and got a whole book about it and read about fallacies, and I was like, all right, now I can talk about it. And it was just funny because I think we both, remember the very first time I met Mylon, it was at someone's house party that Vishu had invited Sahib, or Vishu had invited PK, and then I went with PK. And so I met Vishu then, and then he had linked me, he showed me Mylon. And I actually met Bree because we were playing ping pong. I was like, oh shit, who's that? And then Vishu was like, this is Bree's boyfriend. I was like, oh my God, look at this guy. And who would have thought? That was 5 years, 4 years ago. Who would have thought we'd be here today? It's crazy. But I remember that moment. Another moment is from my junior year when we got to Sun God, and I got extreme. I was blacked out, and we got into that quick little altercation. Again, I think so much of mine and Mylon's friendship for me has been dissolving my ego as opposed to like being like, you are so good, you are so blah 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 blah, and like having to open up space for someone like Mylon to even come into my life. And I feel like that was the most powerful thing from who I was back then. I don't know if me and Mylon could have been friends. And so I had to open up a lot of my own ideologies and headspace. And to this day, one of the best decisions I've ever made, and one of my favorite things about Mylon is that like he's an extremely open-minded person. I would say pretty like as open-minded as I am in more, maybe even more. Like he's down. I could tell him anything, even like think about whatever you want, how crazy it is, and he would be like, actually would be down to listen to me and understand like what I learned from it. So as opposed to ever just being like, you're weird for doing that. I don't think there's a single thing that I could tell Mylon where he's like, you're weird for that. And that's like a really genuine thing to like want from someone without having to be like, oh, like I don't have to act as any certain way. I think like a lot of times I can be myself. Um, Not just how I look, cause not how I act, but also how I think. I can tell him the worst thoughts in my head, and I have. Another memory, we road tripped from San Diego to the Bay and back. And I think I told him everything. There was this day where we sat and we talked to each other about how our egos were built based on what metrics we used to measure ourselves compared to other men. And I told him every single one, A, B, C, this is the rank that it goes in. If I'm losing an A, I go to B. If I'm losing B, and like when you say those things out loud, one, you realize how much you don't need to do them, but two, it also gives you a space to be like, well, now it's out, so I don't have to like hide about this, and I can be open. And so I feel like I've said so many things to Mylan that it's just made me become one, more comfortable with myself, two, that able to say that to more people, whether it's my journey through masturbation, not drinking. I was vegetarian for a while that I was going through with him, getting over my ex, whatever it is, I can tell him, and I know that he will listen, and give his genuine feedback and opinion without necessarily like putting his own bias in it, and asking me the questions. I think oftentimes that leads me somewhere better. Um, so let's continue this dick sucking session. So, like, so there's these people that like I would say one of my favorite parts is to people who just meet Mylon. He's a certain type of person, bravado. He's just a great looking guy, but it's like Shrek, right? But he's the opposite of Shrek. Shrek is someone who is like on the outside, not the best looking, so on and so forth. And then I've been saying so on and so forth too much. I need to stop it. But he talks about how he's an onion, right? He's like not so good looking, and then you have to like peel and you get to know more about him. Mylon's all very much opposite. It's like he's outside, he looks perfect, and so to other people who meet him, that's all he is. Same as Shrek. But as you get to peel him more and more, you realize his good lookingness is like probably the least cool thing about him. Like it's one of the most bottom cool things. Like he's a great looking guy, which is also awesome, which is not to put that down because he's fucking beautiful. But it's like he's a like it's hard to come across people like that who don't let their beautifulness like kind of get all up in their cockiness and like they're all like, oh, I'm so handsome and so on. But really appreciate that he's never made me feel ugly or he's never made me feel less than. To my next point, I would say out of most people in my life, Mylon is one of the only people that views me better than I view myself. And because he does that, it drives me to be better every single day. When I talk to him, I'm like, I have to be better because Mylon holds me to a certain standard that I don't even hold myself to. And that is what a good friend looks like. He believes in me more than I believe in myself. When I talk to him, I come up to that level because I know he looks at me at that level. I'm like, I'm not gonna let him down. And I am a better human being because he thinks I'm a better human being than I am. And there's nothing better than that. Honestly, it's like it's the belief it's that's he gives me what I don't think I had most of my life, where it's the belief before the outcome. I've always had belief after the outcome. That's easy. I, I believe in LeBron after he's an NBA champion. But how many people believe in you when you were in first grade, second grade, before you've done anything, right? And I feel like Mylon has consistently believed in me before I produced the outcome. And he does that with everyone in his life. And there's not enough to be said about something that powerful because it's not something that everyone is lucky enough to experience in their life. And so I in conclusion, I don't know how much longer we have on life together, but I'm really, really glad we got to spend this one. I'm gonna look you dead in the eye. Mylon, I love you. I just want to say thank you so much for spreading your light and fighting consistently this whole year and never giving up because man, this shit is hard. Life is hard and we can give up at any time. But I'm really glad because if you did, my life would be like just my life and a lot of people in your lives, but I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. My life would definitely be a lot just more bland. It wouldn't have the same color. And someone to just that movie analogy you said to like take my captures of life and be like, here, look at this. Look, take these goggles. Look at these experiences real quick. I really enjoy sharing them with you, and I feel heard because I don't think anyone else gets me in that way. So, just to say, our friendship means so much to me. Thank you for being alive. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for fighting. I love you. Happy birthday, brother.